with a pro wrestling legend and AEW star accused and more. This is Wrestling Rambles. My name is John, and you're watching the Wrestling Report. Before we move on, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Rambles with notifications on, and don't forget to like the video. Touching on how he will not be revealed to be under the devil mask in AEW, Wardlow said this ahead of pay-per-view event: "Not the devil, not a goon, on vacation. I will be watching World's End from London, so stop asking at AEW." After his match against Drew McIntyre at a WWE Live event last night, Seth Rollins had this to say, taking a shot at CM Punk.
Take your time. CM Punk fans, get out of your system. Let me at it. Come on.
CM Punk! CM Punk!
CM Punk! CM Punk! CM Punk!
In a couple of videos posted by Brutus the Barber, Beefcake's wife, on X, Greg the Hammer Valentine can be seen making homophobic remarks.
My asshole, you fucking faggot. I can whip you with one arm tied behind my fucking back. The faggot on CNN besides Don Lemon.
John Lemon.
What's the other one?
Anderson Cooper.
Anderson Cooper.
In some unfortunate news, former WWE star Killer Khan has passed away at the age of 76, as Ringside News wrote. Masashi Ozawa, famously recognized by his ring name Killer Khan, succumbed to health complications around 10 p.m. on Saturday. Reports from local Japanese media indicate that he was urgently taken to the hospital due to a ruptured artery. The former wrestler collapsed at the counter of his Tokyo-based restaurant, Jinjo Sakaba, where the tragic incident took place. Of course, we wish his family all the best during this time. It seems that Chris Jericho has been accused of sexual assault, as the story involves former AEW star Kylie Rae. Nick Hausman had previously revealed that this tale might come to light, saying this on his Rumor and Innuendo podcast.
Obviously, the Jericho part of it, for a lot of reasons, stood out to me. One of the things that is so disconcerting to me about kind of the universal praise of Jericho. And I'm not going to deny the points that Max made about, the impact Chris had in the early days of AEW. But when you have that kind of clout and you have that kind of power, it's very important to use that responsibly. And I just, there are issues with Chris behind the scenes where I know of a lot of people who have been hurt by Chris and his actions. And, it's very uncomfortable to me to see him lauded as often as he is, with only the focus on that, because I do think that there's a lot of questionable stories about Chris that will find their way out over time, and when people are ready to tell those stories, that will cast him in a very different light. I mean, look, Harvey Weinstein won a lot of Oscars. Harvey Weinstein produced a lot of very popular films. Harvey Weinstein is now in jail. I'm not saying that's going to happen to Chris, but your narrative can very quickly turn if you're hiding a lot of skeletons in your closet.
ISO Wrestling posted a thread on this topic where a screenshot was included that reads, "So here's the deal, you don't quit the hottest Fed going today, AEW, without reason. I have it from people in the know that Kylie was asked to go to Chris Jericho's room with the understanding that others would be there. When she got there, it was just him. He made a pass at her, no other details are given, and she freaked out. It was then noted that the original accuser of indie wrestler David Starr said, "Sometimes I stop to wonder how many young women out there are wondering if it's safe to post about Chris Jericho yet." Kylie Rae would then reply at the last post with a heart. After this, an old video resurfaced of Jericho on the True Geordie podcast, where he was asked about Vince McMahon's hush money scandal.
And now all of a sudden, it's alleged that, you know, he paid someone off a good few million to keep quiet after an affair. Is there surprise within the wrestling industry that happened?
Not really. I mean, is there surprise in any industry when it happens? And really, you know, when you look at it, it's really not illegal. He had an affair, paid the lady off to not say anything, and moved on. So it's almost like, okay, and people want to jump on it, but there's still always a undertone of it's wrestling. Oh, it's just wrestling. And if you look, that story came out with a bang, and then you really haven't heard anything about it since. If this was, you know, Hollywood with Harvey Weinstein and that sort of thing, but the difference between that was he was holding women back from getting gigs. Harvey Weinstein, you either bang me or you don't get the starring role. This has never been said in Vince's thing. There was a mutual acknowledgement of this affair, and then he paid the lady to say nothing, and she took the money. So, you know, I really know Vince well, and it sucks that it happened. It sucks that he did it, but is anything really going to happen from it? I really don't think so.
He's putting a public front on. He's certainly not acting like someone who's got anything to be ashamed of.
He never does. He never does.
The fact that he walked out on SmackDown straight away and announced SmackDown as if to say, "I'm what?"
That's Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
Fuck
and
you.
then he was at the UFC on the weekend. Like,
what are you gonna do about
suited up? Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, I think that it'll come and go. And once again, is it morally right? Absolutely not. Is it illegal? No. Is it something that is going to get him in real trouble? I don't think so, because once again, unfortunately, it's just Vince McMahon. It's just wrestling. Of course he's going to do that. So, you know, those things come and go and they happen, and it's too bad, but I really think it doesn't really matter in the long run. And, you know, 6 months from now, I'll either be right or I'll be wrong.
Touching on this situation, Lufisto, who has relayed her negative experiences in AEW to fans, wrote on X, "To those who I spoke in private and ignored it, I told you so. To those who called me a liar and told me to jump off a bridge, I told you so. To those who once looked me in the eyes and said, 'I love you,' to publicly bash me to protect your bank account, shame on you." Of course, fans would say this regarding the situation, #fire Jericho. Ha ha ha, Chris Jericho, you're finally getting what you deserve. Heard the story several years ago, and now you're being outed. If only your vodka included rants weren't so effing blatant and obvious, you effing sex pest, fat, overweight douchebag. #fire Jericho. It always was, but now I hope any other potential victims know it's safe to speak. We're all here to listen, and we always will be. Jericho does nothing for the company anymore. He has no reason to be there. They fired Punk for the backstage fighting. This is far worse and needs to have action taken against it immediately. There are legit AEW fanboys going after Houseman for keeping this info instead of Chris Jericho and Tony Khan for the wrong done on Kylie Rae. Shaking my head. First, it's not news. We heard about it years ago. And second, Houseman isn't what's important here. The abuse and cover-up is. F Chris Jericho. F every one of his enablers. Everyone who knew about it and stayed quiet out of their own interest. Media people, management, talent. F all of you. Tony Khan, if that includes you, start fixing it. Suspend and fire Jericho now. Elsewise, F you too. Hey Jericho, as a wise man once said, we respect women here. Kylie Rae would also be on the receiving end of support from fans who wrote, Houseman comparing Jericho to Harvey Weinstein, followed up by Kylie Rae confirming a report of an inappropriate interaction she had with Jericho leading to her quitting AEW, much like Jericho's embarrassing Christmas Day tweeting of Stephen P. New also wasn't on my bingo card, pal. The Kylie Rae Chris Jericho situation will be one to follow as more details become available. Be kind to Kylie during this time, as this is a very sensitive topic and should be handled with care by fans and media alike. Just woke up to the news about Chris Jericho and Kylie Rae. I really don't know what to say outside of the fact that I hope Kylie is okay and that we'll support her wholeheartedly. If there's more victims like it's been heavily implied, the same applies, and F Chris Jericho. Whatever happens, I wish Kylie Rae nothing but strength and comfort while this all gets dragged out. Heart goes out to Kylie Rae, F you Jericho. Kylie Rae appreciation post, such an incredibly nice person, also brings such positive energy to the ring with her. Kylie Rae all but confirms the Chris Jericho rumors. His comments to Ric Flair have somehow aged even worse than originally. I hope Kylie Rae is in a good place. Sending all the love to Kylie Rae and all the others today. It's 6 in the morning, so I'm just going to say this for now. F Chris Jericho, also F Houseman, for using sexual assault as ammo. Said nothing about it until he needed to win a Twitter argument. I wish Kylie Rae and all of Chris Jericho's potential victims healing and peace. I hope Kylie Rae's okay. I hope WWE calls back Kylie Rae. Love and peace to Kylie Rae. Kylie Rae went through so much this past 4 years. To not be able to speak out because of one man's sick, deranged behavior is horrible. Forcing her to have no choice but to leave the company. I want that man gone now. F Chris Jericho, F Nick Houseman, and F Tony Khan. Sending all my love to Kylie Rae and every other sexual assault victim out there. Give Kylie Rae all the love she deserves, y'all. F Chris Jericho, F Nick Houseman. I hope Kylie Rae and any other potential victims have found it within themselves to heal and live comfortably. Whatever is going on with Kylie Rae, I hope she's healing and she has all the support she needs. She's been through so much over the years, nothing but love for her. Wishing nothing but peace and love towards Kylie Rae. Chris Jericho and Tony Khan can go to hell. Kylie Rae is an incredible wrestler and human being. Solidarity with Kylie Rae. At a recent independent pro wrestling event, former WWE star Paul London can be seen using a trash bag as a weapon.
Oh, he loves trash. He loves trash. Oh, God damn it. God damn it, Paul London. Jimmy Lloyd knows. Stranger to trash.
Sending a message to fans that hate on them, the women's wrestlers of AEW were seen in this video posted to Saraya's TikTok account.
Female wrestlers and our camera guys are perverts. Jamie, we're female wrestlers. Of course we have bruises and don't know where they came from. We're female wrestlers. Of course I do 10 nervous shits before I make it out to the ring.
I'm Aubrey. I'm not a female wrestler, but I get paid to watch them play fight in their underwear.
We're female wrestlers, and we make people submit in between our legs.
I'm a female wrestler, which means half of you don't think I have any talent purely because you're not attracted to me.
We're women's wrestlers and our stitches matches our outfits.
We're female wrestlers, and no matter how hard we try, everybody hates us, even though this is our job. And I'm on TV and you're not. But like, no matter how hard I try, how hard I work, you don't know what I've been through. I blew out both my knees for this.
Okay, Chris.
I try so hard.
Yeah.
Why would the internet like us?
Calm down.
What do we do?
Okay.
What do we need?
I know.
How much do I need to hurt myself for you?
During a recent WWE live event in Toronto, Sami Zayn would use a kendo stick as it ended up flying into the crowd. A security guard would retrieve said stick, but Sami ended up giving it back to the fan. Here's the video. For more details on the belief that an AEW star is set to head back to WWE, it was reported that, according to WrestlePurist sources, Andrade El Idolo is expected by many in AEW to finish up with the company tonight at World's End. He is also believed by many within AEW to be heading back to WWE, something that could happen as soon as the Day 1 Raw. A WWE source we spoke to is aware of the talks surrounding Andrade and is expecting him to join the company imminently. Sticking with this story surrounding Andrade's exit from AEW, Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful said numerous sources indicated that Andrade made it clear this past Wednesday at AEW Dynamite he had no longer wanted to be with the company and was planning on leaving. We're told that the situation surrounding Andrade's exit was less than pleasant, with some even saying a major disagreement had unfolded. WWE sources have been told by those close to Andrade that his deal wouldn't be up until at least the spring, but many we spoke to in AEW expected his deal to be up imminently. Ringside News added that many in both AEW and WWE anticipated his return to WWE. Reports circulated about internal discussions regarding a potential comeback at WWE Day 1 Raw, a notion also hinted at by Triple H. However, a source reportedly appeared befuddled at the idea that it would be Andrade, though not explicitly refuting it. Confirmation of such a matter is improbable, given that Andrade is still with AEW. Speaking of that Triple H post, here it is. Not going to confirm or deny the rumors of a former WWE champion appearing at Raw Day 1, but I will say to stay tuned. New Year's Day, 8 p.m. Eastern on USA Network. In an interesting post on social media, former WWE star AJ Lee put up a photo of her wearing her very high-top Chuck Taylors, which she is known for wrestling in, as this has many wondering if she will be making a comeback to professional wrestling. Given the accusations against Chris Jericho, image from the AEW Talent Handbook would be posted by Jim Cornette's podcast co-host Brian Last, as it reads, sexual harassment may consist of, but is not limited to, uninvited request for sexual favors or sexual advances, whether accompanied by promises or threats with respect to the engagement relationship. Unwelcome physical contact such as touching, pinching, or brushing against another's body, as well as coercing sexual relations, lewd speech, sexually suggestive comments or innuendo, sexually oriented kidding or teasing, or sexual propositions, demeaning or hostile comments based on gender or sexual orientation, including sexually degrading words to describe an individual, foul or obscene gestures, material or objects that are sexually suggestive. This list is illustrative only and not exhaustive. Harassment is prohibited in the performance of AEW responsibilities, including in work-related communications and settings, and at any AEW-sponsored events or AEW-related events, i.e. promotional appearances. Off-duty harassment, including by use of social media that impacts an employee, talent, contractor, business partner, or agent of AEW is also subject to this policy. If you are subject to harassment by any talent, employee, guest, client, or contractor, you should notify a member of AEW's legal team or the Vice President of Talent Relations immediately. AEW is further committed to providing a safe workplace that is free from violence, threats of violence, bodily harm, or physical intimidation. AEW prohibits any form of violence or threatened violence by any employee, talent, or third party, including visitors, clients, and guests, both at the workplace and at AEW-sponsored events. Other prohibited conduct. Inappropriate violence includes physical, verbal, or written threats, violent behavior, or any physical contact that interferes with or threatens safety. It includes, without limitation, making threatening remarks, written or verbal, aggressive or hostile acts such as shouting, using profanity, throwing objects at another person, fighting or intentionally damaging property, bullying, intimidating, or harassing another person, for example, making obscene phone calls or using threatening body language or gestures, such as standing close to someone or shaking your fist at them. Behavior that causes another person emotional distress or creates a reasonable fear of injury, such as stalking, assault. Any violation of this policy may result in disciplinary action, up to and including termination of engagement. Harassment. Harassment fundamentally is unwelcome conduct that unreasonably interferes with an individual's services for AEW or creates an intimidating, hostile, or offensive work environment. Harassment may be verbal, for example, epithets, derogatory statements, slurs, sexually related or derogatory comments, pranks or jokes, unwelcome sexual advances or requests for sexual favors, or demeaning or hostile comments. Physical, for example, assault or inappropriate physical contact, or any unwelcome contact, such as touching, pinching, kissing, hugging, or deliberate bumping or brushing against another's body. Visual, for example, displaying derogatory or sexually suggestive posters, cartoons, or drawings, pornography sent to co-workers via email, text, social media, or otherwise, sending inappropriate adult-themed gifts, leering or making sexual gestures. In addition, sexual harassment includes any unwelcome sexual advances or requests for sexual favors, or any other conduct of a sexual nature when any of the following is true. Submission to the advance, request, or conduct is made either explicitly or implicitly a term or condition of having a continuing relationship with AEW. Submission to a rejection of the advance, request, or conduct is used as a basis for decisions in connection with having a relationship with AEW. Such advances, request, or conduct have the purpose or effect of substantially or unreasonably interfering with an individual's performance by creating an intimidating, hostile, or offensive environment at AEW. And this was your Pro Wrestling News Update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see y'all later.